Waltraud Meier, can you remember how Wagner entered your life?
Yes, I do. It was quite late in my life. I was already 20 years old. I was brought up in a family, a very musical family. We made music every evening, but on a very amateur level. Both of my parents loved music a lot, Mozart and Bach and everything else, Mahler and so forth. But for Wagner, they had a huge prejudice. When I was 20 years old, I went to Bayreuth for a competition, a singer competition, and I won the first prize, and the first prize was tickets for the ring, the first ring that Patrice Chéreau showed in Bayreuth. I went there, in the train I was reading the text of the ring, and I expected already the most horrible thing, and I was not really excited to get there. But when the curtain opened in Bayreuth and I saw this production of the ring with that music, I was completely overwhelmed, and I was caught by the first second.
Could you imagine that you would one day be singing on the stage of Bayreuth and how it would be, in fact, how was it when you did eventually do so?
No, at that moment, I didn't have the fantasy to think that one day I would sing on that stage. That came much later, when in '82 I did my first Kundry in Dortmund and then in Cologne. And then I thought, why not audition in Bayreuth? So I called Bayreuth, and I thought that maybe I would have the chance to sing one of the Fricas of Waltraud, because it was audition for the Scholti-Ring. But then that was really a chance. Sometimes you have that in your life. The pianist who had to accompany me, he saw the score of Parsifal that I had with me, and he said, what do you think, sing in Parsifal? I said, Kundry, I just sing Kundry. Yeah, why don't you audition it? And I said, no, that's Leonie Rüsanek who is singing it here. He said, that is not the question, just sing it, you can show much more with that role. So I went on stage with Kundry, and in fact, Wolfgang Wagner then said, oh yeah, that was very interesting. He wanted me to stay for another day. So I stayed a day, I sang for James Levine. James Levine said, please stay another day because I want to work with you on that. So I did that, and then the things were clear that I would sing Kundry in '83 in Bayreuth.
Can you remember that first performance?
Not really. I only know that everybody around me was much more nervous than I was. I was too young. I was, I didn't fear anything. Later on came that, fear on stage or whatever, because you could always lose a lot. But at that time, I could only win. So I went on stage. It was a huge, huge success, and that was it.
It's not every singer who can sing Wagner.
That is true, but you don't develop a voice according to Wagner. You develop the voice wherever the voice wants to develop. So I was lucky that my voice developed in that way that I was able to sing Wagner. But for me, it was always important that there is an idea of singing Wagner that you need a huge voice. But you need to go back also to a kind of like a parlando kind of singing Wagner. So it is not always required to have that huge volume in your voice, but that you really have everything on your hand from almost speaking it, and then really have a rich sound. And I had that in my voice, but it was never pushed in the way of singing Wagner. On the contrary, I always, during the whole years of my career, I tried to do a lot of lieder, for instance, or concert work, to really to stick to the possibility of really refined singing. And that helps me also for Wagner.
Now, can we talk about Kundry in more detail? She is Wagner's last female character whom he created, and you played her many times in many different opera houses with many different directors and conductors. Do you feel, just comparing her with other Wagnerian heroines whom you have portrayed, it's
difficult to compare.
Okay, but is it possible to say that she's Wagner's most complete portrait of a woman?
In another sense, I mean, I would say Isolde is also a very complete woman. Kundry maybe is more metaphysic, because she is connected to another world where, you know, where what he says also in the opera, time and location are getting mixed together, and you don't feel really where you are, and so forth. We are in another situation with Parsifal. It is not so realistic as other operas like Tristan, for instance. So that's why, to make her, yeah, she is a very complete woman, but in another reality.
Final question. Imagine you're being cast on a desert island.
Okay.
In your baggage, you're allowed to take one Wagner opera with you.
Oh no, must it be Wagner opera?
Okay. You can take some other operas as well. But
no,
you've got to take one Wagner opera with you.
Could I have jazz with me?
Yeah, you can take all that as well. I just want to know which Wagner opera you would take.
Oh, difficult. I would make a compilation of the pieces that I love from every opera. I would have the Vorspiel of Lohengrin. Then I would have Walküre, the end of the piece, Wotan's Abschied. Then I would, of course, have some pieces from Tristan. I would have all the Vorspiel and end of Parsifal. You know, I would put things together on one CD and take that with me.
So a compilation.
Yes.
I'd have to ask the appropriate authorities if that was allowed. But anyway, Waltraud Meier, on behalf of the KT Wong Foundation, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.